Not all attempts at running the blockade were successful. Some blockade runners were captured, and others in danger of capture were beached in an effort to salvage the cargo. Still, the successes far outnumbered the failures. By the fall of 1864, nearly 50 blockading vessels were in the Cape Fear vicinity, yet the port of Wilmington remained open. Fall 1864. The Federals again made plans to capture Fort Fisher. At that time, the land face of the fort was about 500 yards long and mounted 25 guns, which were protected by 32-foot mounds or traverses. The traverses rose 12 feet above the gun chambers and contained rooms used as powder magazines and bomb proofs. A series of broken passageways ran the length of the land face, and in the center was a heavily guarded entrance called the Sally Port. To discourage infantry assaults, a 9-foot palisades fence was constructed north of the fort from the river to the ocean. The sea face, which extended about 1,400 yards and mounted 22 guns, was made up of a series of connected batteries. Located at the end of the sea face was Mound Battery, which stood 60 feet in height and protected New Inlet. A half-mile to the southwest, on the tip of Federal Point, was Battery Buchanan, constructed in the summer of 1864. This impressive 4-gun battery overlooked New Inlet, the Cape Fear River, and the southern approaches to Fort Fisher. As a prelude to the opening shots of the first Battle of Fort Fisher, the Federals attempted one of the most bizarre experiments of the Civil War. On the night of December 23rd, the USS Louisiana, loaded with over 200 tons of powder, was positioned a few hundred yards from the fort and readied for detonation. The anticipated explosion was supposed to destroy part of the fort's earthworks and create such confusion among the Confederates that the fort could be occupied. But the blast, which came during the early morning hours of Christmas Eve, did little more than awaken everyone in the fort. 2 weeks later, the fleet returned, this time not to be denied a victory. With an armada of 58 warships and 19 transporters and landing barges, the Federals unleashed the most ambitious land-sea battle of the Civil War. The bombardment began on January 13th, and the same day, 8,000 troops were landed north of the fort. By noon January 15th, another 2,000 sailors and Marines had landed. The Confederates, with fewer than 2,000 men, put up a gallant fight, but were finally overcome. Fort Fisher, the Gibraltar of America, the Malakoff Tower of the South, had fallen. With the collapse of Fort Fisher, blockade running into the Cape Fear River ceased, and the fate of Wilmington was sealed. The South's last major port of entry had been eliminated, and the days of the Confederacy were numbered.